We will start with the session. This is being the internal subject of MCA2. That's a case study analysis or case study for design. The first topic at the MC1, we have gone through the case study analysis subject. Not a specific uh, curriculum is being provided by SPPU, but we will stick up to the standard case study procedure. We will start with the one of the PPT first, wherein you will get idea what do you mean by the case study approach, what is the difference between the lecture and case study. I am going to share the screen with you.
In case of any problem, please let me through chat box and mark your attendance at the chat box. Now it's being standard instruction will not be given again in the repeatedly in sessions, upcoming sessions. Mark your attendance at the chat box for every lecture you are attending. Thank you. Okay, we are going to start now. How to prepare and present a case? That's we wish to have. In that, first, what do you mean by a strategic management case? Means what basically a case means. Actually, when we are describing any organizations or any systems or any activities, external and internal conditions with respect to any mission, strategies, or objective policies, that actually means a case. That case may include all the related management issues in that particular boundaries or domain of that case. It may contain some facts, opinions, and judgments also. And it's like learning by doing. Learning by doing means you're solving that case, and simultaneously, am I not audible? Am I not audible? Please reply. Okay. Okay, Atul. Thank you. Means I am audible. ओके डबल व्हॉइस येतो आहे असं okay we will solve that problem. Let's continue with the next slide. Now when we are preparing a case, we have to check out the sub parameters of that activity of case, the practicality of that case, then the justification of that case, realism, specificity, originality of case, and contribution. That actually these are the guidelines for preparing any case analysis. These all are very self-explanatory, means practicality means it should have reasonable assumptions and should come out with some decisions. Justifiability, it should support your decision as a user. Realism means there should not be any arbitrary or virtual, or you can say the artificialness in that. Specifically, no border generation, means that these 5 W should be satisfied. These 5 Ws should be satisfied, that what, why, when, and how, where, who. That is the specificness of that case. Then the originality, feasible alternative should be, and contribution. It should be a group activity in a class and real life. Be open-minded to others' views and contribute yours also. The cases prescribed should be comprehensive, and they should not be confined to the concepts discussions in that session. How to actually prepare and present the case analysis. The case method, we will see how actually case method is differ through the lecture approach. In a case, we should be prepared for what would you do or why would you, means whatever the WS type questions that should be discussed along line of any case. Then we should be able to get answers to the questions like what are the firm's most important external opportunities and threats, organization major stress and weaknesses, organization's major traits and weaknesses, and what are the firm's competitors and what are the strategies that we should be able to deal with. Hello, we will move further. The cross examination of case should be done. Take a stand to support your position with objective analysis and outside research. Thank you, Mayank. And we should be avoid being a silent observer while being in a case study mode. We should participate and contribute as well. How to prepare and present a case. Preparing a written case analysis, we should have first the executive summary of that case, then the comprehensive written analysis that should include the steps like vision, mission, and objectives of that case, develop and improve on the vision and mission statement of the organization, then identify the external opportunities and threats, construct a competitive profile matrix, that's a CPM, and construct the external factor evaluation EFE matrix. Then we have to construct the internal factor evaluation IFE. Then we have to construct the internal factor evaluation, then we prepare the SWOT matrix for the case, inclusive of strategic position, action, space, Boston. We are going to see all these terms in the upcoming sessions. Then recommend a specific strategies for and long-term objectives. Specify how your recommendations can be implemented and what results you can expect. Recommendations should be followed by the specific annual objectives and procedures for strategy reviews and evaluation. Then the oral presentation can be held of the written case study analysis that will contain quality, quantity, factual correctness, appropriateness, feasibility, and coverage of the important issues. Oral presentation delivery can be have the parameters like personal grooming, organizing, visual aids, voice, body language, fluency, reaction to feedback from audience, followed by the question answer.
झालं
Organizing.
काय का पल्स रेट जास्त आली आहे त्यांनी परत टेस्ट करायला लावली
हॅलो.
कोरोनाची
कोणाच्या इथे बॅकग्राऊंड व्हॉइस येतोय, प्लीज चेकआउट बॅकग्राऊंड व्हॉइस ज्याच्या येत असेल त्यांनी बंद करा. थँक्यू. Organizing means introduce yourself and then the team, company, and the case you are dealing with. Topics to be covered and their sequence, the role of the team members in a case study procedure, arrive early and check out the venue, aids, etc. Then the visual aids like you may present a case using PPT, handouts, or flip chart. Do not overdo. Use the simple graphics, few and legible fonts, and few lines per slide. Points only. As like here, we are placing a points only. That should be your slide, should be a bulleted one. Your voice should be clear, loud. Do not mumble. Practice slow. And when nervous, pause and breathe. That's Am I not audible? माझ्या मते मी सगळ्यांना अनम्यूट ठेवलेलं आहे. जर का इफ यू आर नॉट एबल टू म्यूट unmute yourself, please let me know through the chat box whether audible. Then you should use specific body language, stand erect, because body language conveys the 70% of the message you wish to convey. Then you should interact with the audience appropriate team members to answer, seek help, and consult when required from the team members. Okay. Then you can have the conclusion accordingly and conclude with the main theme or summary. That's how you can present the case. Okay. I think Namrata, you might be having some problem with your speaker because others are hearing properly. Is there any problem with the audio? Other? Please let me know. Okay. Now we will see one video specifically dedicated to the case study preparation.
I'm sharing the screen and we're going to see one video dedicated to the case study
Preparation.
business case study. You will learn how to read a case and how to write up or discuss your thoughts with others. Cases test your creative thinking and analytic skills. Can you see the big picture and the dirty details? Can you use the available information to analyze and present your case? I'll present ideas that help you answer these questions. What do I mean when I say getting the most out of a business case? I mean that with a serious approach, you can learn a lot from a business case. You learn to identify and assess issues and to better solve problems based on the data available to you. There are several ways to get the most from a case. First, prepare. You can expect to spend 2 to 3 hours preparing a case. It takes that amount of time to read, understand,
Check
and
out
analyze
the
many cases, though your
subtitles.
mileage may vary. Participate in the conversation. We will interact online during class each week. Plan to bring your ideas forward. Share. Be prepared to share your thoughts and to listen to those of others. Sharing with each other is an invaluable way to learn about business case problems from multiple perspectives. Relate what you are learning to what you do or have done in your career. The goal is to transfer the learning to a new context and build your memory of the ideas. Finally, be conscious that you are improving your decision-making. Focus on how you are making decisions to learn how you can improve even more. Now let's focus on the case itself. What do you do first when you sit down to work on your case? First, read the case quickly, like a magazine article.
Now check out these points that how to prepare an approach towards a case. Back to video.
Scanning the first and last paragraphs and each paragraph topic and conclusion sentence throughout the case. The goal is to get an initial idea of what the case is about. Next, read the appendices. Note what data are provided there. Case writers usually include only things that are useful. Identify how each item in the appendix could help you. Often there will be tables, either in the case itself or in the appendices. Identify the value of each table and how it can help you with the issues in the case. Having scanned the case, identify what type of case it is. A problem, decision, or evaluation. We will look at these more closely in a minute. Once you have gotten a good overview of the case, then it is time to sit down and go through it carefully. As you read, study the situation. Get a sense of the situation you are facing. And describe the exact problem, decision, or evaluation that you must address. Next, begin to develop hypotheses that consider what may be causing the situation in the case. Then build support for your hypothesis by extracting and analyzing the data found throughout the case. And identify what you are going to do about the situation. Lastly, evaluate the options you've considered and make your recommendation. State.
Students, these are the some points where you are expected to give focus that how actually to prepared for the case study approach, that we have to first carefully read and take the notes, study the situation, develop the hypothesis. Hypothesis means the propose the causes behind that situation, why that situation is there. Then check out, identify, extract, analyze, and recommend the action for that. That will evaluate The likelihood of success. We'll continue.
Which option is most likely to succeed? And identify potential weaknesses in your chosen option and how you could address them. There are a few general principles for how to discuss or write up a case analysis. First, state your conclusion. What is the outcome to address the situation in the case? Then discuss the data and analysis that support your conclusion. Build a story from the data to make the case. Then discuss a detailed action plan. Explain what you will do first, when you will do it, and what the outcomes are expected to be. Problems. A problem is a situation in which there is a significant outcome or performance, but no explicit explanation for it. Something happened, but it is not clear why. Define the problem specifically. Search for the cause of the situation in the case using relevant tools from various business disciplines. If you use marketing, you would use frameworks like the 4 Ps, the 3 Cs, and so on. Similarly, you might use discounted cash flow analysis from finance, or your ability to analyze a balance sheet using principles from accounting, and so on across the disciplines. Decisions. Although nearly all cases contain decisions, this case type is focused primarily on an explicit decision that must be made, for instance, build versus buy. Then identify decision options and decision criteria and apply the evidence to the criteria. Evaluations. An evaluation is your judgment about how well a particular act or outcome turned out. For example, evaluating a particular decision that has already been made. Develop your own criteria to apply in judging the situation. These may come from within the case, business discipline frameworks, etc. Evaluate both the positive and negative sides of a situation to offer a view from both perspectives. I have developed slides for how you can read and prepare and write or discuss each type of case, problems, decisions, and evaluations. In the interest of time, I'm going to focus on the decision case. This is the type of case we will face most of the time. I refer you to the notes for details on problem and evaluation cases. First, you study the situation. This means identifying decision options, evaluating their strength, identifying the risk of each option, including doing nothing, creating criteria for evaluating the options, and then identifying the most important criteria. Next, select the strongest criteria and evaluate the options. This will help to expose strengths and weaknesses for each option. Then focus on the hypothesis option you are most confident about. Consider that option from multiple viewpoints. And consider the protagonist's role and the implications of their making the decision. Next, you move to proof and action. Gather evidence about your top hypothesis. And be sure to assess your option quantitatively using the data in the case and your own analysis. Identify the actions that you could consider given the data analysis. And create a statement of what you will do and when you will do it. The final step is to evaluate the alternatives. Here, you are going to challenge your chosen option by finding the biggest risks and downsides to your recommendation. Then, you turn around and describe how you would handle the risks and downsides. Next, you identify the strongest evidence against your option, to be aware of how others might criticize your plan. Finally, take the position of advocating for the major alternative hypothesis and find support for it. When it comes time to discuss the case, or write about it, you take the analysis and work you did in preparation and organize it to make a strong presentation. First, state the decision you recommend in a single sentence. Then add several critical reasons for your decision. You will support these reasons with data. Next, you make your case. Present the options you considered and the decision criteria that you used to evaluate the options. Explain how the decision criteria fit the recommended option, and show how the same criteria did not support other options. Finally, acknowledge any potential disadvantages to your suggested option. Then, you state your action plan. Clearly explain what you would do in the short, medium, and long term, and define any potential risks and how you would respond. Doing all the actions described for preparing a case will give you what you need to present your ideas in class or in writing. This approach also provides a template you can use for analyzing any decisions you may face. There is similar guidance for problems and evaluations that describe how to approach those kinds of cases. You can read about that on your own. And that
If there are, wait, wait. If there are any query, you can ask. Being the internal subject, weekly one lecture or else online session of this, being the internal subject, the one lecture or a weekly one online session of case study will be held as per the revised timetable which will be there from Monday. As per all requests from your sides regarding to have the separate WhatsApp group for the MCA2, it's being considered by the authority. We have placed that on before the Honorable Director, and accordingly decision whatever it will be conveyed to you. Okay. With this, I conclude this session. I am very much thankful to you for patient listening of this session. Definitely, all of us, including faculty like us, are trying to improve while imparting online. I request all of students to please cooperate with the institute and be contributing for the betterment of academics. Online sessions are like facilitating for you only, but it's up to you that how much self-study you will do that will actually sharpen your skill with respect to the subject and your career also. I am thankful to all of you. Thank you one and all. Here I conclude today's session.